What's up, guys? We are back in the lab. And today, we're actually going to be covering a lot more about the training mod pack. So, as you all know, I'm a very big avid labber. I lab a lot on my streams. I lab a lot in my own time, in my own free time. And last time we were in the lab talking about the lab, we were talking about both training mod pack and non-training mod pack. But this video will be focused solely on training mod pack. So we won't be discussing anything outside of the training mod pack really. Mostly about how to use the training mod pack better. Some things that got added in the update since the last video. And some other things you can do with that now. So just a quick recap of the very basics of training mod pack. So to open the menu, there's actually another way to open the menu now. So before you can only do it with B and up, and then to close it, you would hit B. But some people have like specific inputs with their special button or their B button, and it gets a little bit finicky. So now you could just hold down the start button and it opens up the menu. And then again, you just hit B to close it. The most important settings you really want to keep in mind of are the mash toggle settings. This just lets things happen when you hit them. Follow up is if you want something else to happen as well. And mash triggers. So there's a lot of mash triggers now. So to go over the most important ones, hit stun is when you hit them, right? Shield stun is when you hit their shield. Tumble is if you hit them and they're in their spinning animation. So that animation that can set it into a tech chase, that's tumble. It's very important you have that one on as well. And then these distance options. And then always. Obviously, always means, you know, always. So if I set you to air dodge, for example, you'll always air dodge no matter what, right? But distance is actually pretty cool. It's a new setting. It allows you to set it depending on how far you are from the opponent. So if you're in the mid range or if you're in the far range, or if you're in the close range. Pretty cool. I actually really love these settings. There's obviously a bunch of other ones. There's tech, mistech, grounded, footstool, ledge trump, etc. So these are obviously the three most important ones you want to go with. However, as you saw, that there's some numbers associated with these, right? There's a 1 and it goes all the way up to 5. So what this means is it's a priority list. So let's say I have air dodge on 4 and jump on 1. That means when I'm hitting Kazuya, he's 4 times more likely to air dodge than he is to jump. Obviously right there, it just so happened that for 4 air dodges, he did 1 jump, but it just means in that calculation, that's what's going to happen. And obviously you could set to multiple different options. So I could do, he could up air on 2. I could do down air on 3. I can do multiple different options. Shield on 1. I could set them all to the same priority, right? But that's what those numbers mean. They're actually really, really important if you know, like, oh, like I'm struggling mostly with air dodging, so I'll put that on a 5, right? But sometimes I'm struggling with jump, so I'll put it at a 3. So now I'll just be focusing on doing that type of juggle scenario. So let's go over the actual biggest change of training mod pack, which is the addition of input recording. Now, if you notice, when we open the menu, there's a completely new menu called input recording. And we're going to be focusing on these top 3 and this second one over here. So much like the save states, we have multiple states for input recording, specifically 5 slots. So let's say in this first slot, I do dash forward, dash back, punch, punch, right? And I switch the slot to slot 2. And let's say I do this upward kick. If I go to this playback slot, now I usually just like to keep it on one of them. Obviously you could have it on multiple, but I personally prefer just to make sure I'm in the right slot to just keep it on one of them. If I play it, that's what we did on the first slot. Play it on slot 2. That's what we did on the second slot. Perfect. Now, recording trigger refers to a button combination, right? We could set it a button combination or save state load. Put it on button combination. And then recording duration is how many frames you want to record for. So how long your sequence is going to be. The reason we have this on button combination is because if we go to button config, another new setting, you could actually change how you want to have your save states and recording states done. So for me, I have my save states the same as left and with the D-pad. But for input recording, I have it as right with the D-pad. So save state is with my left trigger. So if I want to save, L and down. If I want to load, L and up. But for input recording, I do R and up to load, and R and down to get into input recording mode. So this is pretty important, right? Input recording mode. You have control as if it's your normal controls, right? It's just like as if you're playing the character. And for however many frames you put it on, that's how many frames you're going to be able to use that input recording. So lockout just means you can't do anything. Standby means you're ready to go. And then once you move, you'll go red, which means you're recording. So why is this really good? Well, as great as Training Mod Pack is, and we're going to go over how we can use so many more settings in Training Mod Pack, we can't necessarily do everything, especially with fighting game characters. This is really important. So for a character like Kazuya, where he has a special input, we can't really do that with Training Mod Pack specifically, but we can input record it. So for example, I'm going to start input recording and then get an electric. Okay, did the electric. So now if I play back this slot, he's just doing electric over and over again, right? Which is what we want. So now we have electric saved on slot 2. Okay. Well, now we could use it as a mash trigger. So if we go back to mash triggers, playback slot is here now, right? This wasn't there before. So let's say we have it on playback slot 2 for when you are in tumble, right? After attack or just getting hit, he would immediately do an electric. So now you have that counterplay. You're able to actually play around this type of attack where before you weren't really able to. Okay, so I changed a little bit of settings and I have Kazuya at ledge. This is pretty important. So there's another setting called override settings where these top 4 are important to me at the moment. Ledge neutral get up, ledge roll, ledge jump, ledge attack. What this means is after that option is done, so after Kazuya does a neutral get up at ledge, he'll perform one of these 2 things that I have enabled. Shield and playback slot 2, which remember is electric. Right? There's obviously all the other options available. So if we go to defensive settings and ledge options, let's turn on neutral getup and roll. So if I let it play back, he did the roll. Okay, boom, right? He does a neutral getup, he does shield. That's pretty important. So let's take out roll for now, just to see what else he could do. Electric. Why did that happen? Well, it's because I had ledge neutral getup. It's an override setting. So the moment he does neutral getup, he's going to do either electric or shield. So you're able to counterplay multiple things from the ledge. It's really, really great. Okay, so we changed up character, changed up a couple things. This is a very important part of training mod pack is actually reacting, especially with parrying. So as you can see, I turned on some settings. I turned on full hop. I turned on some aerial delay with custom settings. Notice how 0 has the most amount of occurrence. Fastball is, again, true most of the time, but a little bit false. Fastball delay, again, same thing. Now, I have Rob mashing in the mid distance, which includes close distance. And he's mashing neutral air. So, when I come close, he does nair. But he's doing nair at very wildly different timings. Now, the reason for that is I want to practice parrying, like specifically. Now, obviously, Rob nair is like baby's first parrying. And since it's Rob nair, really you can only parry on a full hop. But it's really cool to do this with other characters. So we're on Wolf now, where, yes, it's the same thing, right? The delays are very, very wildly different. So you could just practice reacting and parrying. Like there, that was such a different nair. And then the next follow-up nair was like a really slow nair. You get so much off of that. But I could also turn on, you know, just short hop. So you can react there too against these like a little bit faster aerials. But again, since the priority is slightly on true for full hop, he's gonna full hop twice as more than he would short hop. This is so simple though. It's literally super easy to do, and it lets you get so much more practice out of the lab. But reacting doesn't necessarily just need to be with parrying. A great thing to use reacting for is tech chases. So importantly as well, when you're practicing parrying, you have to make sure that falling aerials is set to true. You could set it to false and practice against rising aerials too. But personally for me, I just find it most of the time when you're parrying, you're looking for a falling aerial more than anything. So it's better to just keep this at false, so you're always practicing those falling aerials. I forgot to mention as well that if you have all these like buttons set, a really quick way to clear them very fast is with Y. Otherwise, you kind of have to cycle through all 5, and it's kind of annoying. So let's say you're at 3, just hit Y, deletes it. So obviously reacting is really important, just like we were talking about with parrying. But reacting is really good for tech chasing too. The term reaction tech chase exists for a reason. So let's look at some tech options, right? Right now I have them all set to tech. You could obviously set it to no tech, but for now I'm going to prioritize just the tech options. Obviously if you do no tech, you could also prioritize no tech options as well. But there's a really cool setting that I have started to love recently, and it's this hide tech animations. We're going to turn it on, and we're going to see just exactly what this does. He disappears for a sec. Now, why is that the case? Now look closely when you're doing techs. You see the camera kind of moved a little bit when he did that tech roll in. And it moved out when he did a tech roll out. And then when he does a neutral tech, there's no movement. This is so good to learn. Instead of the tech animations, you're really prioritizing the tech itself. So there he did tech out. So I'm going to showcase this with Yoshi Egglay. So if he tech rolls in, I need to do a B reverse Egglay. If he tech rolls out, I just need to follow up. And if he does a neutral tech, I either follow up, wave bounce, or do a turnaround B reverse. So if I'm practicing tech chasing, it just helps me get into learning what the camera is doing rather than what the character's doing. Like there. There's also tech action. So this is much like these override settings, but for tech. So let's say after tech, I want him to do like a jab. Just like that. So that I could actually be on top of if my Egglays will work or not. But it's a setting I'm really fond of. I'm really bad at using it at the moment, but it's really, really good. This also works with no tech. So if I prioritize no tech real quick, he disappears. So again, the camera kind of shakes a bit. That's how you know he did a no tech. So this high tech animations, I personally really love it. It's a more newer setting. It lets you focus more so on the camera, so you're learning reaction tech chasing in a universal setting, rather than learning specifically what Wolf's animations look like. So we're on Peach now, and we're going to learn about just how to do item combos. Now, this is more so for my non-item combo mains, because I know a lot of people that do item combos, they know how to get to it. But it's pretty simple. You go to character item. Now, if you are the Peach player, let's say, you'll do player value, right? So if you're the Peach player, you would do player first value, second value, third value. But let's say you're not a Peach player. You're fighting against Peach and you want to use her item. Well, Peach is the CPU. So you do CPU first. Now, if I save state and reload, I have a turnip in my hand, the basic turnip. If I do the second one, now I have the wink face. Third one, I would have dot eyes. Fourth, fifth, etc., etc. Now I have Saturn. Now I have bomb. Right. Boom. But this is how you access it. If you, let's say I'm Peach and I'm fighting Yoshi and I want to just practice with turnip all the time, I would do player first value because I'm playing Peach. I'm the player. So if I would reload, I would have turnip in hand. So when you save state like this, you'll always have the turnip. So it lets you practice like these item combos, right? Something like that, right? I'm kind of just freestyling. But it lets you practice these combos that, you know, usually it's much harder to get, right? So let me set you off of mid. Boom. So I'm just practicing some combos right now, right? Maybe I want to play around with what I could actually do. Trying to maybe catch combos. Like maybe I want to practice catching the turnip after like a hit. Something like that. But it lets you have so much freedom to actually get your item combo game up. Because most of the time you're not thinking of really like how to practice item combos that much, I feel. Because it's really like awkward to get an item when it comes to normal training mode. But that's what makes training mod pack so cool. Is it makes it very easy. So like I'm just like trying to figure out stuff. And you can do this with your character too. Like maybe I could even find like a kill confirm. Let me try to find one. Like something like that, right? If I set Peach to a little bit higher percent. That's simple. Obviously, though, you always want to incorporate DI when you're doing these combos. Always, always, always remember. When you go to defensive settings, you have all these DIs. I always usually just keep them all at 1 because I'm focusing specifically on covering every time a DI. Then SDI direction and SDI strength is the same thing. For SDI direction, you could do all of them. Strength is how hard of SDI you want to do. So boom, I found a new kill confirm. So learning those item combos is really, really crucial in my opinion, especially in this later meta where Rob is really prevalent, where Peach is still pretty prevalent. For these characters with items that Diddy Kong, learning banana combos, you want to learn these combos to fight these characters. And what better way to do it than with training mod pack? So I'm on Wario real quick just to show off, in case you're new to training mod pack, with characters with charges or buffs. So if we go to save states, buff options. All these buff options, right? These are obviously for specific characters, right? So I'm Wario, so I'm looking for these two. I'm looking for mini waft, full waft, half waft, but for specific characters, so let's say like obviously Shulk, he has speed, shield, jump, smash, buster. You know, obviously Sephiroth has one wing angel, etc. Right? But let's say I want to practice my half waft combos and I don't want to wait forever. Put on half waft, save state, I have half waft, right? Put on full waft, save state, reload, I got full waft. So now I can practice like item combos with my buffs without having to, you know, keep reloading, etc. But obviously this doesn't need to be just your item combos. It could just be any combo in general. Like I could just practice doing boom, boom, right? If let's say I'm really bad at doing like up tilt waft or for some reason, right? Or I'm really bad at doing up air waft or like something like that. Or you just want to practice in your other state when it comes to like Arsene, One Wing Angel. Like you want to practice your slingshots with with One Wing Angel or something like that. Or your slingshots with Limit because it changes your properties. Well, you could do that. Okay, so we're back on PS2 because we're going to look at another one of my favorite features that I love to do. And it's in save states again, where it's save damage, damage range, right? So this save damage, this refers to whether what percent you want to save at. So let's say it's at default. I have right now the damage at 39 defaults, right? Reload, it'll always stay at 39 for the CPU. And it, right? So that's what default means. Save state means if I hit him and I save state, 51.8 or 55.6. Now, if I reload, it'll always be 55.6. That works exactly the same for a save damage player. But what I'm interested in is random value. Now, why? Well, if you look here where damage range, you can set a custom range for what you want the save state to put you at. Now, why is this important? Well, I'm going to show you the damage for CPUs. Right, 36, 57. This is because since it randomizes the percents, you get to practice your kill windows and your combo windows. So for example, this is really important with Yoshi's quad up air kill confirm because you kind of want to learn from vibe when I can't go for quad up air and I have to go for up air, down air. or up air, or the basic quad up air, right? This lets you become way more familiar with your kill confirm ranges, your combo ranges, like when you can actually hit your kill confirms, because it's not only playing around with your opponent's percent. Obviously my opponent's percent is varying, but it's playing around with my percent. Why though? Well, rage affects it so much. I might be able to quad up air at 43% with max rage, but at, I'm gonna just change this for simplicity's sake, 43% with no rage, he's able to tech. So rage is so important. You could obviously do this with a bunch of other things too. So like Yoshi Nair Fair, this is affected too, right? So for example, right, he's at 45, I'm gonna forward tilt. At a kill percent, I should down B instead. Forward tilt, right? Not really kill percent, I could just back air. Kill percent, I should react appropriately. It lets you react with different things too. So you're not exclusively going for this combo centric or kill confirm centric way. It also works in reactions as well. So let's go back to that parry example, right? Well, at 57, maybe I just want to footstool down B for some percent, right? But at that percent, I want to just parry up smash, right? Or parry down B, right? This percent, I want to combo. This percent, I want to kill you. So it lets you just react with so much more certainty and get used to looking at the percents, especially, which is really crucial in my opinion. Getting used to just looking at the percents of you and your opponent, being like, okay, this will work now because I've been used to using these random percents. This is something I've already practiced, just looking and just reacting on the fly to these certain percents. But yeah, that's all I really have for you guys today. If you enjoyed, please subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. There's going to be much more content like this coming in the future. So if you want to be notified for that, also hit that bell. Leave a like, leave comments on if you want, you know, a future video on other things you could do in the lab. This isn't all I do in the lab, but it's honestly a lot of it. But there's a lot more to cover. There's so many settings for you to play around with. Like tumble, there's shielding, there's all this other really cool stuff that you can look into. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and till next time, peace.